What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to part 4 of our annual tier list rankings here on Smark Moment Smack Talk podcast. I'm your host, as always, Tony Mango, joined as always by Callum Wiggins.
Hello.
And Robert D. Felice.
Not for long.
That's all of us at this point. We have already taken care of the men's and women's divisions on the AEW roster, and we have already uploaded our women's division on the WWE side of that roster. So today we are going to round out our quartet with the men's division in WWE. Same tier list rankings as the other ones, so go back and check them out if you want to know any of the other kind of opinions that we have about all the other men and women that are on the rosters right now. And we're going to continue on with the same exact modus operandi that we had, the same setup, all that good stuff. So we'll explain all that in a moment, but first things first, make sure that you hit the like button on this video, make sure that you are subscribed to this channel, make sure you ring that notification bell as well, get your email alerts set up, and also make sure that you help us out on the monetary side of things by clicking on either the thanks button and or the join button. Gets you access to the same stuff as the Patreon if you want to do it on Patreon, patreon.com/smarkoutmoment. But you got the Darkcast tier, you got the Pick Your Poison tier, the Ad Block Forgiveness tier, a bunch of other different tier options as well. But even the $1 a month lending a hand one is something that is greatly, greatly appreciated. So thank you for that in advance if you are able to do that. And if you are on at least the Ad Block Forgiveness tier, then anytime that we record something in advance, I will post that in advance on YouTube, and you'll be able to get access to it early. The early access function is going to be built into that. So maybe I rename the tier, maybe I don't know. I think I can't rename it on YouTube without it like deleting the tier or something. I don't know how that works exactly, but essentially, if you're on the Ad Block Forgiveness tier or higher, you'll get early access to things if we do have anything early for you guys. So that is stuff to keep in mind. Also, Redbubble and TeePublic is where you can pick up your merchandise if you want to get any kind of t-shirts or stickers or mugs or notebooks, whatever. They all different types of products that you can slap these designs on. You can do that for a Smark Out Moment, Fanboys Anonymous, or a Mango Tees. Also, make sure to leave a comment below on YouTube or wherever you're listening to this. That helps out quite a bit too. And hop on over to our Discord server, chat it up throughout the week on any of the topics, any of the channels that you want to. And yeah, we're going to just kind of get the ball rolling here with these tier lists. And keep in mind that, you know, obviously we did the other tier lists before. So if you've watched any of those, then you know how our rankings go. But if you are brand new to this and you just clicked on this video, let me give you a rundown of what we got going on here. We got the S tier, the GOATs, the A tier main event, the B tier is above average, the C tier is directly the middle of the road. So we typically have more on that than anything else, and we try to go for a balanced curve on this. We have the D tier is below par, jobber status is the E tier, and the worst of the worst is the F tier, the drizzling shits. We also have the no opinion column for people that are pretty brand new that we don't really see much of, or people that are on programs like NXT Level Up that we don't watch, or, you know, maybe they've only really wrestled a match or two, so it's too early to tell. There's a lot of variety when it comes to that. So we will put some more people on that front on this list that we currently have. I put some people on there already because some of them are just, you can see that I did this list before Skylar Clinton had his new name, which I believe is Nico Vance, like that. So I'll just put that there on that friend. We have a list of still 125 people, and one or two of them are people that are not necessarily in NXT, but like I decided to put Zachary Wentz in there because I was just like, meh, we could put him in there. I put Joe Hendry in here because they've been hanging around NXT long enough that we might as well talk about them. But, you know, if we decide to just take them off the list, we can always do that.
Joe Hendry than I do about Rezar.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much a guarantee. And, you know, we have NXT talent. We've got Performance Center talent, mostly in the no opinion column for that. We've got Raw. We got SmackDown. So we've got all sorts of different varieties of people top of the card, very bottom of the card. We're going to be seeing where they go. And, you know, we're going to do our typical thing here where we debate back and forth about the idea of, you know, if we have one person goes A tier, one goes B tier, and one goes C tier, that balances out to a B tier. If two people say A tier, one person says C tier, then it's just going to lean more towards A tier. we have that stratification that we normally do. So I will say we normally try to, set the bar for certain things, but I think one thing we should do is, and it's unfortunate that we should be doing this now and not just actually talking about the guy. I feel like I got to move Talatanga Hikuleo into the no opinion one because he's just not done anything yet. And even though he technically can be judged based off of his New Japan stuff, I haven't seen enough of it yet. So I'm more than willing to just put him there. If you guys want to put him in an actual tier though, then a 2-1 vote is perfectly fine for me.
I think it's probably better for him that he goes no opinion rather than the position I would put him in based on his New Japan work. So yeah, I'd leave him in no opinion.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
That works for me. Who is the perennial C tier person you guys can think of? First thing that comes to your mind.
Wait, he's not on the list. My God, Dolph Ziggler's not here. How good is that?
Yeah, it's one of the rare times that we can't put Ziggler on that.
C tier guy. Let's go with good old Austin Theory.
Yeah,
I think that's fair. He had a lot of potential to be higher up on that, but it's not manifested yet. And he still does have a lot of potential, but man, is it just not clicking yet. I'd say another C tier person, and you guys might disagree with me on this one, would be Baron Corbin.
Yeah, he might be in D now.
Yeah, I'd say he's a D level guy. Well, he's an
Andrade takes the place of Ziggler.
Andrade's we'll see, but yeah, I'd say Corbin is D tier.
Through D tier, yeah, rank me. I'm always trying to push more positivity to Corbin, but
me too.
It rarely helps.
I lost. It's okay.
I think if we're gonna go that, then I think that D tier has to go Apollo Crews as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't put him any higher than Corbin. They're a tag team now, so
yeah, I don't like this tag team. I don't understand why they're doing that.
Because they were in NXT doing more, and now they're not.
Yeah, it's just, well, we got nothing for you, so how about you both team together as the I've got nothing for you team. Uriah Connors, no opinion.
He's
no idea who he is. So
he's Brogan Finley.
He's the last of the Finleys.
Oh, okay.
Is that like a sequel to Last of the Mohicans? The Last of the Finleys?
Yeah.
Actually, are there any other no opinion people that stand out to you guys? There's a couple people that I would more than likely lean toward. Like
Shiloh Hill.
Oh yeah, I don't know anything about Shiloh Hill. I would do the same for Tyreek Igwe and Tyson DuPont. I just don't know much about them yet.
They're not going higher than E right now.
Yeah, like they're not bad from what I've seen. And, maybe by the time we do this next year, if we're, knock on wood, still around.
Maybe they're S tier, God.
I mean, more than likely, probably not, but they probably they could probably be C tier next year. Like I've seen some decent stuff from them, but I haven't seen enough. Kale Dixon's definitely another no opinion one. Where's Kale on here? Kale Dixon, that sounds to me, I hate the name more than anything. It sounds to me like it's a knockoff brand of some kind of like lettuce product. So, not a big fan of that. So yeah, Kale Dixon in that range. I would put
Dion Lennox.
No, he's getting ranked.
Dion, I don't know. Dion, I haven't seen too much of. His character's not great, but it's not bad. And
all right, we can no opinion him for now, but I'm telling you, by this time next year, if they stick with him the way they have been, D or C.
He's got some potential to him, but he also, in some ways, reminds me of so many other people that never amounted to anything. So it's like, you're not working with like the greatest potential here. But yeah,
That's I would just have no opinion because I have no idea who he is. So.
Yeah, he is the well, you're not watching NXT, but
he's not watching NXT. It doesn't matter. He can't explain
the best way to explain him would be, do you remember Percy Watson?
Yeah,
I don't think that's fair.
If Percy Watson, instead of doing the oh yeah, was like a nerd that read books.
Okay,
that sounds controlling.
Yeah, he didn't really explain that well. He's very athletic.
He's got a
They're
good look
going
to
with
him. He's
him
got
being
like,
well
yeah.
read for some reason, but I think he's gonna lead the charge in that CW we're gonna promote to kids kind of push.
I think there's a chance that ends up happening for him. Yeah. Right now, all he's done is he lost.
He lost
Like-
to Ashanti the Adonis, and he lost to I was gonna call him Bo Dallas, but that's not his name. What's his name? Bull Buchanan's son. I can't.
Brooks
oh
Jensen?
God, Brooks Jensen. Thank you. That's his name.
Here's an E tier person the first person that I thought of when we were just talking right now for the E tier. E for Eddie Thorpe.
I might say low D, but we'll leave him there for now.
Have you seen enough of Eddie Thorpe, Callum, to give him a ranking?
Carl Fredericks.
No. Yeah, I know it's Carl Fredericks.
Carl Fredericks meets Tatanka.
But I haven't seen a huge amount of his work in NXT, so I don't really want to rank him one way or the other. So if you guys can decide that one. I would say that based on that though, I'd think I'd feel pretty comfortable putting Lexus King in E as well.
Absolutely.
Man, it annoys me that he can't go
He's
into
lucky. He's lucky he's getting E. He's lucky he's getting E tier for me.
Like there's so much that could work.
You know what?
Where it could be C tier for me, but it's like, man, they don't even want to keep it kayfabe.
They can it. Yeah,
like
good work.
Like that's the thing
You know
is
what?
like they don't even want to like give him the kayfabe wins where it's like it might not connect in the right way, but at least he's winning or something. They're just having him
leaning
lose.
into the fact they're literally leaning into the fact that hey, your beard's weird and you kind of suck. That
Right.
doesn't bode well for him. You know what I mean?
Like he's got to be on the same tier as Eddie Thorpe right now. They're feuding with each other.
By that matter,
practically.
Dante Chen as well.
Yeah, Dante Chen is. I don't know where this random ass push came, but for them to be able to all feud with each other and to be like in a way that
Chen
it isn't.
XT.
Gen
I am
XT.
sports entertained, but it's clearly not working out.
So we're filling up these ranks a little bit, but let's try to
Javier
go.
Bernal.
Let's go for an F tier and an S tier just to balance those a little bit. An F tier person.
Look, this is gonna sound mean, and maybe they do booking on SmackDown that changes the way I feel right now. But at this moment, on the 18th of September at 3:44 p.m., I'm saying Giovanni Vinci's an F.
It's hard to argue that he could be higher than an
In
E.
terms of presentation,
I think it's a bit different because we know what he can do.
I'd
I mean,
probably go
I'm-
E.
I'd say a D. Like he's obviously going to be a job guy, but he's a good wrestler, so he'll be having good matches while losing.
all right then. I can get behind that. I'm not a fan of what they're doing to him.
To go back to the Giovanni Vinci gimmick that didn't work in NXT, and to put that on the
Have
main
him lose in
roster,
3
and then have him
seconds.
lose immediately, and he doesn't even lose to somebody like Roman takes him out, where it's like, okay, well it's Roman, or like we're gonna
He
book
lost
a
in
match
3
against
seconds to Apollo Crews.
right, like he lost
Well,
in
this is
3
what they did-
seconds to a D tier guy.
Well, this is what they did to, and they did it with a higher level guy, but they did it to Karrion Kross as well when he first came in.
Yeah, he's not going high on this list.
Oh,
No,
that's
no,
right,
yeah,
Jeff
no, it's well, yeah.
Hardy.
Yeah,
I
but
remember that.
So
but yeah, as I say, you put him where you feel like it. I would rank him high just because I know that he's a good wrestler. But if you feel like he doesn't deserve to be any higher than E, then
I'd lean more towards E right now.
It might be E. It might be E for him. I'm putting Cross in D.
I think Cross D, Vinci in E. So that because at least with Cross they do try to make it seem like he's got potential to beat some people.
But he
Vinci
beat
right now,
McIntyre, you know?
yeah, and he is leader of a group and all, but like Vinci, man, they just immediately said, you know what, let's just dump all over this guy, and it's a shame because he can do so much. I remember when Fabian Eichner was in the Cruiserweight Classic, and I was like, oh my god, I really hope that they sign this guy. He was one of my top 5 picks in that whole tournament, where I was like, I want them to sign Cedric. I want them to sign Vinci, Eichner. I want them to sign Gargano, Ciampa, Ibushi, Zack Sabre Jr., like this group of people. Eichner was in the ranking there of me being like, this guy's got a lot of potential. And they've just, for whatever reason, they don't see it in him. It's a shame. Let's go for an S tier. Let's throw out Randy Orton. We know he's going in S. Let's go Roman. Some of these most obvious ones.
Cody.
Cody's going in S. Who else we got? John Cena going in S. I know we have some other people that are
The Rock.
Punk high A. Or The Rock on this list?
Yeah, The Rock. Yeah, The Rock's got to go on here.
Punk is either
Punk is one of the S or an A. It's kind of tough for me right now. I'd be okay with putting him in S, or I'd be okay with putting him in A, and then if depending on what the curve would be, moving him around. But he's not going lower than an A.
Okay, go ahead, Cal.
I'd say put him in S because I don't think there's actually, looking at the list, I don't think there's anyone else that I'd even consider putting on S tier at this point.
We do have Brock on this list. We do have.
I'm not comfortable ranking Brock.
We don't have a P tier.
We get no opinion Brock right now, and like a kind of you're in the naughty list. Drew McIntyre is a high up one. He's an S or an A. We got Gunther.
And Gunther maybe as well, yeah.
Gunther's a high A. Gunther's an A.
We've got Kevin Owens is a high up dude. We've got I saw somebody else, Rey Mysterio. I think Rey Mysterio is like another potential. Sami Zayn, yeah, he's in that. Right. Seth Rollins is in that ranking range. I should probably put Robert Roode in the no opinion. He's like potentially never going to wrestle again.
Delete him. He's not. What the fuck? Why is he on this list? He hasn't had a match in like 3 years.
Has it been that long? It probably has been. Wow.
Callum, can you cage match that real quick?
Sure, I can do that.
I'll just delete him. Like the
I mean,
likelihood.
you did. Now I want to know.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while for him. I can't remember the last match that he had.
I think
that's a shame.
Okay, so his last match was 25th of June 2022, where he lost to Omos on WWE Saturday Night's main event house show. His last televised match that he had was the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal from SmackDown before.
From WrestleMania SmackDown in Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Sad.
I don't understand what his last singles. So his last singles match that he had was March 2022 against Bron Breakker on NXT 2.0.
Jeez, Louise, what are we doing?
He lost before he retired in his last match against Omos. He lost 7 straight matches to Veer Mahan on house shows.
And that worked out for all parties, didn't it? Jesus. Retrospect's an interesting thing, isn't it? So out of these groups, I don't think that there's anybody else that we would even be like really considering into the S tier on this. There are some people that are like big names and people that are like, beloved, but that I don't think like. For instance, Kofi Kingston's not going to go on the S tier. Love Kofi. He's a former WWE champion and all, but he's not an S tier kind of range guy at this moment.
I do want to say that based on legacy alone, there are plenty of people who would put him in S tier. But I think I'd have to say B. Kofi.
More than likely, I'd probably go B range right now. Kofi by himself could go into a Hall of Fame and headline it, and I'd be like, yeah, it's Kofi Kingston. He's fucking great. But right now,
The New Day, but could fucking headline the Hall of Fame.
the New Day absolutely could, especially if you go with that. And I think that Xavier Woods is massively underrated as well.
He's a C.
I'd go probably C just because of the idea, because he hasn't had that same type of career. Like if you compare the two of them, there is no comparison. Xavier Woods' only successes have been the New Day related stuff, which then Kofi balances that out because he's been in the New Day as well with him. And then Woods had the King of the Ring. Kofi's had United States titles
every title ever. Like,
yeah, US titles and Intercontinental titles and the world title. It's like, all right, well, unless this potential split of the New Day leads to Woods, winning 20,000 more championships or something, which I don't think it will. I don't even think that they're necessarily going to split either.
No, they're not.
Then, I think that Woods is about on par right now with Austin Theory.
All right, I got an F.
Who are we looking at?
Gallows and Anderson. Not that I don't like him. I like him. But come on now.
Is there an argument against it? These guys.
Callum, you want to make the argument for Gallows and Anderson?
I mean, not particularly, but it's not one that I particularly care about.
It's really not looking good for them. These guys came back and they don't even want to seem to put them with AJ Styles. They're on NXT, but they only pop up once in a while. And when they do, they're feuding with Hank and Tank more than anybody.
E, by the way, Frank.
They can't go into the D tier. No. I think Hank and Tank probably are somewhere in that E and F range.
The tank is on E. You might say.
I'd probably put them both in E.
Yeah. Look, the only reason I'm saying drizzling shits for Gallows and Anderson is because it's like they're at that point where it's just sad because you know what they were capable of at one point, and they're not good enough wrestlers like a Randy where the legacy keeps him, or a Shinsuke where he's probably going into D because we're not putting Shinsuke in F regardless of his booking.
No, Shinsuke's not an F.
Yeah. And honestly, as dumb as this sounds, just to make sure that there's some people on the F tier, this men's roster, I hate seeing the names listed like this because it shows you how fucking this roster's thin, man.
There's a lot of people and there is a lot of potential, but they can't move these. And we're going to see, like, by the time we get done this whole ranking, they don't seem to move people much on different tiers. So it's like a guy like an Ilya Dragunov is like, we know that Dragunov is a lot of fun and he's great, but he's not A tier right now. He's B tier. Like if we're potentially putting these names, like a Drew McIntyre potentially in A tier, Dragunov is definitely not on that level.
He's either a B or a C.
There's even an argument that he's a C. Yeah. I'd lean probably more towards B, but it's like, yeah, he's not in that range. I don't know.
Like I said, this roster's thin because you look at someone like Eric and Ivar, I wouldn't put them in F. But at the same time, if you two said they're going in F, I'd be like, okay, I guess so. Like I can't make too much of a strong argument.
The same for Angel and Umberto. Angel and Umberto are like, if you say to me F tier, I don't want to put them in there, but at the same time,
you couldn't argue too heavily against it,
right? And yeah, there's a chance that we can move like a Dante Chen over to F tier, and maybe balance it out that way if we need to or something. But like, there aren't many people that I would put in the F tier, but these kind of guys are like, they're hovering at least. And for that matter, I'd put Miles Bourne somewhere in that E to F tier.
Okay, but I'm putting Tavion and Charles in D.
Tavion and Charles go Charles.
Why are we calling him Charles?
I don't know. I don't know. It just seemed so
Ren Sinclair said Charles, and I was like,
Yeah, and then I just picked it up right after you said that. They're in a higher tier than Miles Bourne, and I thought it was funny on NXT this week. Dempsey's like, "We need you to Ren Sinclair. We need you to make a name for yourself, the way that I have, the way that Tavion has, and the way that Miles has." And I'm like, "Wait, okay, so Tavion went to Japan and wrestled in a tournament and did seemingly pretty well, and Dempsey is a 2-time Heritage Cup champion, and Miles." Yep.
well, Miles.
He hasn't done anything. Like, you know.
Miles' gimmick being, I didn't hear what you said, is just
that's fucking wild to me that they actually are going into that. Like, that they're just kind of like, all right, your gimmick is you have hearing problems. And it's like, well, you know how they do the whole thing where it's like, it's just you, but cranked up a couple more on the volume. It's like, hey, you're not supposed to take that literally, guys. Come on. All right, so before this gets a little too out of craziness, where are we ranking some of these people I have up on the side here? I'm just cleaning this up a little bit.
Like, of the ones that you've put in that like A tier, I think most of them are going to stay in A, except there's an argument for both Punk and Mysterio to go in S.
All these people on this block, I have in that like A to S. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean just A tier. I just put them there for the sake of it.
I mean, yeah. So, where do we want to put Tongaloa?
Why do you keep jumping around all the other ones? We haven't even sorted all the people that we've got listed yet.
Well, listen, to figure out Tongaloa, we got to figure out Brutus Creed.
Let's deal with these ones who are at the bottom of the A thing first before we start thinking of anything else. CM Punk's S tier. The rest of them.
Well, Rollins S tier probably.
No, I'd make the Rollins is an A.
That's a vote for an S, a vote for an A. What about you, Callum?
Oh, I said A, definitely.
Oh, 2 for A then. Okay.
Yeah.
So if Rollins is A, I'd put McIntyre in A.
Yeah.
I think that,
like I said, everybody in there is an A, except I'd make the argument for Punk and Mysterio to be S.
I think Sammy goes A.
See, I'd make the argument Mysterio's B.
You can make the argument for it, yeah. I mean, it's a possibility.
Because does he win anything anymore?
But I was thinking legacy, and he's in the Hall of Fame and still an active competitor.
The difference between having like John Cena and The Rock as legacy people on that side is because, you know, that if they come in, they're the main event of the show they're going to be on, whereas Ray is in an undercard tag somewhere.
All right, I can't argue with that logic. B.
We can always move him if we need to, but yeah, I can see that. I mean, look at Kofi. We got Kofi in there. He's a main eventer, world champion, all that good stuff.
They both hold the same number of WWE championships, so.
No, Ray won twice, didn't he?
No,
he's won the World Heavyweight Championships.
The World Championship, and then the WWE.
He won listen, Ray
they both lost the WWE Championship in humiliating fashion.
Yeah,
Kofi gets beaten in like 6 seconds by Brock, and Ray's like, "Hey, I'm champion." John Cena's like, "Match," and he goes, "Okay, whoops," and dies. So on that front, Dragunov, you can kind of make the argument he could potentially go into C tier.
I'm still going with him in B.
It's B or C.
I'd say B. B, former NXT champion, privilege, putting him in there.
And then I literally, at least for me, I agree with everything the way it's laid out. You just got to move them up. Because I think Charlie and Tavion are D. I would probably put all of those people in E. And I still say Gallows and Anderson are F.
I kind of think Miles needs to be F. Has he won a match at all?
I'm sure he has.
Cage match, Miles, Bourne. Let's see if... Because I don't remember him winning anything, unless it might have been...
I've got him up now. So he had no core catch crew defeated Kushida and the Rascals in TNA. So there's something there.
Woo!
So he's won a match in TNA.
He's also
Then
on a match on TV.
Oh, house show. Let's see if we put it to where's the TV
match
stuff?
statistics. So in 2024, he's had 31 matches and he's won 6 of them. And the 6 wins are that one TNA one? The one TNA one that it's the no quarter catch crew entirely. So it's
he lost to Dante Chen. So as I look at this list and see he lost to Dante Chen, I think he's got to go in F.
He's never won a TV singles match.
Yeah,
he's had four TV singles matches. He's lost all of them. So, and he's had several. Well, he's had a few tag team matches. He's only won one of those, and that one was an Impact. So he hasn't actually won a tag match on WWE TV. So.
All right, hear me out. I see what you're doing, but Akam and Razor.
I think that they need to go into E tier.
I think they might be now.
See, I'm thinking Akam and Razor E tier, and then we might end up moving 1 or 2 or so of these other guys into F, depending on.
I could see moving Hank and Tank into the.
Maybe Hank and Tank, maybe Dante Chen. Yeah. Because the Dante Chen experiment was basically like a 3-week thing of, oh my God, I can't believe that jobber won. And then he went back to disappearing. I think more than likely he might need to go in the same tier as Smilesborn.
I mean, I guess I can't argue it. I'm entertained by him, but
I almost feel like putting Eric and Ivor into no opinion because they're injured.
I can see that. Yeah, I mean,
the one that I would rank is Ivor because Ivor was obviously more recently, and he was doing fine. I would have put him in a D tier rank at that point,
and he's cute. Eric,
not so much.
Not so much, and he's not as healthy either.
Yeah. And then E tier for Berto and Angel, or they're even potentially an F tier at this point to me too. Like
F tier. No. I think the difference between the F tier ones is they have to be
featured a little more prominently.
Well, not even that. I feel like they want you. They make you feel like not so much want to turn off the TV, but it's a lot more like I'm not even having any fun watching a match featuring them.
The difference between the E and the F tier is I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
I could get that with like Carlos and Gallows because they are just like, they're guys that are just cashing a check now and just going through the motions. Whereas Bourne and Chen, they're probably trying, but they're just so like green and not really there at the moment.
Where do we go, AJ Styles? Do we still go A tier?
I think so. He fought for the world title this year, so he's an A tier one.
I mean, we know that he has S tier potential, but he's not at that range, so it's like I lean more towards A.
Give it 6 months time and he'll be ranked S on the AEW rankings.
God, I wish. I wish.
Let's see, who else can we're definitely like low on this C tier.
It's not our fault.
We'll fill that up pretty quick. We'll fill that pretty quickly. There's a lot of average people.
Grayson Waller?
Yeah, if Austin Theory's there, I'd say Grayson Waller's maintain that level. I'd put let's have a look.
So here's just to jump around a little bit with the bloodline. We've got Solo Sikoa, Tamatanga, Tongaloa, and Jacob Fatu. I would not necessarily in the placements of where I'm putting them, but this is how I would kind of put them. I'd put Solo and Jacob in a tier on their own. I'd put Tamatanga below them, and then I'd put Tongaloa below Tamatanga. I think
that's pretty fair.
Potentially, actually, even in these tiers of like Solo and Jacob and B.
And Jacob are an A.
Would you really rank them the same with Drew McIntyre, Gunther, and all?
I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't want to rank them an A. I think
I wouldn't want to, but I think if we're being like realistic.
Because they haven't actually accomplished any of the stuff. They've just been pushed as really credible challengers, which to me, that's kind of on par with Dragunov and Ray and Kofi.
Yeah, but Dragunov and Ray and Kofi will get fed to Judgment Day and not in a tag match with Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes.
Well, in which case, though, if we're going with like what they're currently positioned, I'd say you'd almost go Solo A, Jacob E, Tama Tonga C, and then Tonga Lower D.
I can see that. Because there is a distinction between Jacob and...
Because Jacob hasn't done... Yeah, he hasn't done anything yet. Obviously, he's the one that everyone can tell has the most potential and is most fun to watch out of.
That's literally the gimmick at this point. It's just like...
It's funny.
No, I don't want to fight you. I want to fight him.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for more like C tier fodder, so let's go Javon Evans.
Yeah.
He's doing some good stuff. He's going to be fighting Randy Orton on that show. That's interesting.
Yeah. Put in Santos Escobar.
Yeah. Escobar makes sense.
As I said earlier in the conversation, Andrade basically takes Ziggler's place as a perennial C.
I think so.
I'd almost, I'd say I'd almost like say that he's on the cusp of B, but we can leave him there for now and see how it goes.
I think Carmella right now is a C, even though we know that he's higher potentially, but they're not booking him to be like the number one contender to the Intercontinental title, where he actually wins the challenge. Like he lost to Andrade, who's going to lose to LA Knight.
Who's a B?
Yeah, well, you could
LA Knight, I'd go B. Yeah.
On that note, I'd also say Trick Williams is a B.
I can see that. Yep.
I like it.
Oh yeah, man.
Both Gargano and Ciampa are C.
Yeah, they're in C's. God damn, I want those guys to be in that like A tier range. But they don't want to push them. So here's a potentially controversial pick.
Okay.
Obafemi.
B.
Did we just go B already?
B. He's B.
I would go C.
It's like that's tough for me because it's like he's kicking ass. He's gonna beat the North American Championship range. He's not lost a single match. I would make the
argument that if you put Obafemi in the ring with any of the C tier guys, he's gonna get booked to win.
Probably, yeah. I think that he might be like that B minus, where like if they put him up on the main roster right now, and they had him beat LA Knight, I'd believe it. I think I'd go B minus for Obafemi. OB minus Femi. He's doing some great stuff. C tier for not C tier. B tier for Sheamus.
I'd say so.
Mm-hmm.
Just re-signed.
Pete Dunne as well. Almost said the B word.
I'd go C.
Yep, I'd say C.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. I mean,
C tier for Pete Dunne. D tier for Butch.
F tier for Butch.
I do like that they've just been spinning that around as like his whole gimmick now is
Tyler Bates probably a D right now.
Yeah, Tyler Bates a D. Yeah, he's not only has the injury not helped him, but he didn't end up doing anything in the past. How long he's been on the main roster?
Carlito's also a D.
Can't make an argument against it, really. I think JD McDonough is a D as well.
I'd say C. He's tag team champion right now.
He's a C. Finn Balor's a B.
Yeah, I guess technically, yeah, he is tag team champion. So even though they dropped him,
Balor can go up to the D. Yeah,
we didn't rank Priest in A.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Priest, I'd go into that A range. Yeah, Priest has been doing some great stuff. Where is Balor on this? There we go. Balor in B. B for Balor.
This could sound odd, but I know he's NXT champion, but Ethan Page is a C, right?
Correct, perennial.
Oh, yeah, no, he's a C.
Yeah.
Just because he's the NXT champion does not mean that he's immediately in B tier. Right now, he's not being booked anywhere near the same strength as Obafemi. Ethan Page's gimmick has been he gets pinned by people like Ora Mensa. Like, no, it's not the same. One of these things is not like the other.
I'd put the entire family in D and maybe Tony in C because he's pushed a little stronger. But I think I'd put all three of them in D.
I think I'd go Stacks in D, Tony in C, and Luca Crucifino in E.
I'd put Luca under Stacks. They're basically a tag team.
Yeah, but I think if anyone's going to get the pin, it's most likely going to be Stacks. And if anyone's going to break out, Stacks has more potential. That's where I'd go, at least.
I'm not gonna fight you on that. That makes sense.
And speaking about other families, the Wyatt Six. We've got let's see, Bo Dallas. Put him off to the side. We've got
I don't know how to feel about them.
Pretty negatively.
I would like to come back to them.
I'll put them off on the side for now. It's just these four, right? Yeah, because we already did Nikki elsewhere. I'm just going to group some people together that we know are basically going to be somewhere in the same range. So like Gallus. The Gallus boys are not going to be super high on my list.
They're not going to be on top.
They are not going to be on top. Oh wait, why is Tangaloa twice on this list? Who had Tangaloa? That's weird.
That was his name originally.
That must be on the SmackDown Hotel list instead of mine. We know that we're probably going to rank Idris and Malik around the same. Pretty Deadly is probably going to be around the same. Yeah, I'm just kind of like cleaning up around that. Got Andre Chase and Duke Hudson and such. Where do we go with Tozawa? Because he's fun, but I mean, he's, total loser character.
He's probably an A, I'd imagine.
I guess, yeah, I can't say.
Well, Otis is the D, probably.
D for Dozer?
And you can't really say that he's higher than Karrion Kross or Carlito. Yeah. Poor Otis, man. Money in the Bank winner. Didn't amount to shit. Malik Blade, Idris and Ofe, E.
Yeah, they don't win anything, do they? So.
No.
And then they're pushed relatively.
At most, I would say Joe Coffey in D and the rest of the Gallus boys in E, but I'd be more than fine just putting all three in E.
I'd be okay with that.
I do not.
I feel we should put Wolfgang in F.
I'd be okay with it, yeah.
I'd be okay with
it. Yeah. Like,
they don't connect with me at all.
They don't connect with me either. Maybe they're great.
But they do connect with Shawn Michaels, and that's all that matters. So.
There's Shawn Michaels and Drew McIntyre and The Rock.
And The Rock.
Yeah. And that's all that matters.
Yeah. Josh Briggs.
I like Briggs, but he can't go as high as I want him to go.
D?
Yeah, I'd say D.
He's a bit higher than Eddie Thorpe.
I'd put Brooks Jensen in D too.
Spears in C.
I mean, I'd put Brooks Jensen in F probably.
We'd have to move a couple people.
We might end up having to move some people as it is.
You can't put Brooks Jensen in F when he's like legit regularly on TV.
Can I put him there because he sucks?
I mean, that's a fair point.
I'd go Bronco Nima and Lucien Price in D or E. I mean, I'd go E. But not Ludwig Kaiser. Ludwig Kaiser is definitely higher up than OTM. Kit Wilson and Elton Prince, they haven't done anything really. E?
D. D, I'd say.
D. They're pretty deadly.
Pretty deadly? E? Tier? Pretty dead? F? No, no, I like them. I wish that they were doing some better stuff. I can't say that I'm big on Ashanti the Adonis.
He's got a fun gimmick. E.
Well, E, I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, but he's got a fun gimmick.
Cedric can be D. That's fine.
Yeah.
You going
Cedric is a bit...
Cedric? Indeed.
Callum, I don't know how much you're not watching much, but Ashante's whole gimmick right now is people show up with women and he just hits on the women and people are like, bro, would you just stop being horny all the time?
And then he's like, I'm mad at you.
Like, yeah, like
yeah, it's kind of strange. Not the best gimmick, especially when he loses the women and then he doesn't do particularly great in the matches either. What do you go? Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde. Where's Joaquin on here? There he is. So we got, actually, let's, I'm just gonna move them over, and we could rank Dragon Lee higher than them in whatever range. If we go Mysterio B, then the highest that Dragon Lee can go in C, but they're still not really pushing him super well.
I'd say Dragon Lee's a C at the very least, because again, he's one of those ones that can have
like,
more fun matches. Whereas Cruz and Joaquin goes D, and the reason why I'd put them ahead of like Angel and Berto is because they're more featured on TV than they are.
Fair enough.
Because realistic, I mean, that's kind of the advantage of being on Raw, or at least the 3-hour version of Raw at the moment, is because essentially isn't, again, not watching permanently, but seeing enough with the results. They're just like in a constant feud with the Judgment Day right now, aren't they? So
kind of, yeah. They're not really like
with Ray. They're going to be on TV.
Yeah, they're not really in a position that they are like kicking some serious ass, but they go out there, they have fun matches, and I mean, there's a certain weight to the idea of we know that they are fun, even if they're not necessarily pushed in exactly the same way.
I'd put Chad and the Creeds in C.
Chad Gable,
maybe even
Brutus
Chad and
Creed. I'd go B for maybe Chad.
Maybe Chad's a B.
Because around the same range as like Trick and all. Like, so Chad in B, and then Creed's in C.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Julius. Where did I move Julius? There you go. Why am I saying it like that? I don't know.
Julius. Orange Julius.
So where do we go with... Ooh, this one's a tough one. Braun Breaker.
He's A, right? Yeah.
I think I'd lean towards A, yeah. Like, that's tough, but like...
By the way, Jey Uso's an A, too.
Jay's got to be... For the first time, we got to really rank them differently. Because Jay is way higher up than Jimmy. I think J.A., Jimmy...
D, maybe.
That's where I was gonna go. I was like, I don't even know if I'd go C, because he's been. Yeah, it's weird. He's been gone for so long, and that doesn't help him. But he might still be able to be on par with Tama Tonga.
Yeah, I didn't see.
When he comes back, hopefully, he is a big deal.
I don't know, man. Like, look, the whole Jannetty joke is made constantly, but the thing about Jannetty is he had that like stigma around him after Shawn hit a certain level, and I wonder if Jimmy's gonna get that now. Because
if you listen to Rikishi, you may never come back.
Yeah, what is this thing? We were going to talk about that potentially on the hot tags, but maybe it's better to talk about it now.
I'm unfamiliar with what you're saying.
Rikishi tweeted out something like "Pray for Jimmy."
He's out on
it. What?
And then SRS was like, we reached out and Jimmy's fine. So it's like, what are we praying for?
Maybe he's having mental struggles. Maybe there's a divorce or so. I don't know.
Well, come on, Naomi.
That's some wild speculation to put out there.
I mean,
look, I'll say this, and yes, that is wild speculation on my part. Not like anybody fucking listens to these, so who cares? I'll say this. Rikishi's very weird.
Yeah.
In the sense that all of his podcasts seem to be like, well, I'm mad that my son's not the world champion. Okay. What do you, like, sorry?
The Yeet Man isn't champion.
Yeah. The best you got for him is he likes mommy? Yeah, Rhea's over as fuck. What's the problem there? Sorry.
Yeet Man. Hopefully we don't get bad news about Jimmy Uso, but for now he's going to go in C tier. Where do we go with the Street Profits? C?
Yeah.
The C Profits. Maybe D tier for Andre Chase and Duke Hudson?
Feeling great.
Yeah, I'd say that. Yeah, I'd say that, yeah.
They're prominently featured, won the tag titles, that kind of thing.
E for Osborne with an E.
Osborne?
Osborne.
He's not doing super great, but yeah.
Look, this is gonna sound stupid because he's in TNA, but Joe Hendry, right? Like,
oh yeah, he's booked as like with the most over person in practically two different companies. Like,
I know, he's gonna main event Bound for Glory, which, by the way, good call. That's what I said I wanted to see. and he
wanted
could
the
be
C
in
tier.
NXT at any moment.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Hendry's great.
Bronson Reed a B.
Yeah, I think so. He hasn't
Braun
won
Strowman a B.
enough of like matches that really matter to push him into a higher tier, but Bronson's a solid B. He's not a B minus and he's not a B plus. Solid B for B Bronson.
And Braun Strowman, I'd put him in B too.
I'd probably put Braun in B too. He's probably a B plus because he's in that like Kofi kind of range of like you're a former world champion, but you're not in that range right now kind of space.
Put Dominic in there as well.
Oh yeah. I forgot we didn't do Dominic yet. Dominic's fucking great. I did not imagine when he first came around how much I would enjoy Dominic Mysterio. I remember being like, this kid is just not working out. You know, he doesn't have a good look to him. He doesn't have good timing and all this. And this heel turn, it was the best thing that ever happened to him. He is so fucking fun. Easily one of my favorite people on the roster right now. Not somebody I'd fantasy book and, you know, everybody, but like he's such a fun character. Javier Bernal, we didn't do. E tier, maybe. He's been gone for a while.
Did you say F-Cal?
There is an argument.
Yeah, why not? I mean, all no opinion, because he's not been around for a long time.
He was around long enough. If you feel comfortable with F, Tony, I'm not going to fight you.
He's an E or he is an F. I don't know.
Is he more akin to a Miles Bourne, or is he more akin to like Akira Tozawa and stuff like that?
I liked him, so I would say E, but I can see this going F and being okay with it.
I know he sounds pretty entertaining to me.
To be fair to the people that are in the E tier, Eddie Thorpe is pushed as there's a lot of talent to this guy and we can give him a win once in a while. Akam and Razor are like, oh, how do you beat these two behemoths?
And then they do.
Joe Coffey regularly fights for like mid-card title type stuff. I think we kind of have to go F for Javier Bernal. He's fun, but man, missing in action for a long time again, and he's being injured, predominantly a jobber before he was, you know, injured and all.
You know, you said that about Akam and Razor, and I'm almost tempted to ask if they should go into F, since they're pretty much single-handedly defeated by a guy who no longer exists.
Yeah, imagine the difference between Odyssey Jones if we would have been ranking him.
If we ranked him that week, we'd be like, oh man, I don't know, man. D, maybe C? More like fucking
D, C Jones? And then it would like, nope. Yeah,
rank him U for unemployed.
Yeah.
Wait, we got Noam Dar and we got Ora Mensa here. E.
D for Noam and E for Ora? Oro?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
It's weird how they feel strong one way or the other.
They've given him Oro quite a bit of a push this year. It's kind of strange. He hasn't won anything, but like they're hyper focusing on Ora Mensa. We got Sean Spears,
Ridge
Shinsuke.
Holland.
Ridge. I forgot about Ridge. Yeah.
I think he's in D. He's feuding with Tracy U.
Yeah, he's in D with Duke and Andre. Like, we don't have to be alliterative, but it's gonna pop into my brain, so you'll have to hear it. Ludwig Kaiser, C.
D.
Yeah, C, I'd say.
Sean Spears, C. D.
Yeah.
Probably D.
All right, if two for D, I can't argue.
If he won something more, then then I'd make the argument that he could be in the same tier. But if we look at like a Carmelo and like, it's weird to put Javon a higher tier, but I trust that Javon's going to win a championship sooner than Sean Spears. And Spears, like, if they would have just not given him this like losing streak so quickly, I think that he probably would be in that C tier pretty easily. But
The only match I remember him having, he did lose to Ridge, so that
Yeah.
is what it is. Fraxium and C.
I wouldn't go that high. I'd go D.
They're
I don't
definitely
know.
C. They're the NXT Tag Team Champions. They're in a C.
Yeah.
Well,
And
you
they're
guys
fun to-
have 2-1 vote, but I am not big on Fraxium.
Why not? They're fun to watch. They flip.
I sort of like, it's always the way. It's like, I know they're really good because Tony doesn't like them.
I will never pick Axiom and Nathan Fraser to be a go-to tag team for me to want to see anybody go up against for the most part.
Dude, I hope that more WWE fans feel the same way you do, because I can't wait to see them in AEW. So
They would be much better off in AEW.
Ben, whatever his real name was,
Ben Carter?
Nathan Fraser.
yeah, Ben
Was-
Carter, yeah.
Yeah, Ben Carter. He was in AEW, and then like the next week he signed to NXT.
They are cruiserweights that I wouldn't give the cruiserweight championship to. That's how I look at them. And they could do some fun things, but
I think they just need a bigger spotlight, and to get away from this will they won't they break up thing, and they'll be even better.
Dude, I think there's a very high possibility. I know it's just like the Wrestling Observer stuff and things like that, but I have a strong prediction that they'll win Tag Team of the Year from the Wrestling Observer Awards.
There's a good chance.
I can't see any other WWE tag team beating them.
Not this year, no.
So, and definitely not an AEW tag team based on this year as well. So,
I mean, the Bucks might just get it.
yeah, well, fuck that. That'd be bullshit.
I like the confidence.
But well, there might be teams in like Mexico or Japan that I'm not aware of that might get more into it. But I'd say based on North America, I'd go with those two. But anyway, we'll move on. They're definitely C. But
I'd like to make a stupid joke, and I'd like to say that Omos should be in B for Vig.
can't go that high for him though. He's been another person that's been so
He could
much
easily
missing
go
in
in
action.
no opinion, to be clear. But we know what he can do, so D.
I'd be okay. I'd be okay no opinioning him. I'd be okay putting him in D because we know that the ceiling isn't as high as it, his height technically is. I'd be okay with D. Wesley, Trey Miguel, Zachary Wentz. Is it really fair to rank Trey Miguel?
You put all of the Rascals on here?
I don't think it's really fair to rank. Well, because essentially Wesley's a C like level, and then
I'd go C for Wes.
But then it's the idea of like you're going to put the other two lower, but it's like that's not their company. Like, of course they're going to be ranked lower.
I'd put Wentz in C. I mean, he's right there with Wes. We know what he can do. And
I think
Miguel,
it might be fair enough to just kind of take him off the list because it is a harder ranking. Wentz is there to feud with Wesley, and yeah.
Joe Hendry is the exception that proves the rule.
Yeah, I mean Joe Hendry, they booked him as
he was in the
way more prominent. Yeah,
I'll say we didn't rank Jordan Grace on the women's.
We should have, and he would have been an A.
Where would she have gone? Yeah, probably.
She would have been an A.
I'm gonna put her in there in parentheses because if we look back on this next year, we're gonna go, oh, look at that, and
then she'll be in a D, and then we'll be so shocked.
I'll be so upset. Fuck that. Like,
so we got the Wyatt 6 left. We got R-Truth, Logan Paul, The Miz, and Shinsuke Nakamura.
Well, Logan's A.
Logan's an A.
Yeah, I think so. As much as it pains to put him in that kind of a spot, he's just talented as hell when it comes to this.
Miz, Truth, and Shinsuke are low C's to me. I understand if any of them get moved to D.
I'd put them all in C. I think that's fair.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Miz should be an F, but that's fine.
The Wyatt 6. Here's where I struggle.
They're not going high for me.
I don't think it's hard because like they've only all wrestled like a couple of matches at most under this new gimmick.
I think at most I'd put them in C. At highest.
I'd go D.
And a lot of that is just smoke and mirrors.
Whoa.
Because realistically, if they didn't get this gimmick, Loomis and Gacy would be where on this list?
Probably hovering around E, probably.
Yeah, and Bo Dallas would be in no opinion.
He'd be in
And
no
there-
opinion, or he wouldn't be in the list at all because he wouldn't be brought back. And the same with Eric Rowan. At their peaks, Eric Rowan was a C tier guy to me.
Bo Dallas at his peak was probably
A D
low
tier.
C, high D.
I'd say C when he was in NXT.
At Joe Gacy's peak, I'd say probably a C minus, a D plus. And Dexter Lumis, as much as I enjoyed some of the character work and stuff,
Dexter.
he would have been another D at like the highest too. So to me, it's like they're all still in D tier.
I'd put him in C for the smoke and mirrors. I do think the
We
gimmick
can't
helps,
rank the smoke and mirrors.
but I do think the gimmick helps them.
I'd say put more in D until or no opinion until we know more about where they're actually gonna like be positioned moving forward, because they've only viewed one group.
This roster, man, it's driving me nuts. I'm sorry.
The thing
It's
about
very-
this, it looks like there's so many people in this C, D, E range, but
There are.
if you look at the people that are in that that C range, there are a lot of people that could, with just a few tweaks, move up to B, if not A.
But
Like we
also,
know
with-
Carmelo is great. We know Johnny Gargano can have some of the best matches on the entire roster. We know
yeah,
that
but also with the few slips, how many of these people don't fall right into E?
there are definitely a couple people that are in there. Like I wouldn't rank Axiom and Nathan Fraser that high. I think that with a few tweaks that don't go super well, Tama Tonga could be in a D range. Andrade could be in that D range. Ethan Page
and
could
first
be.
of all-
Jody McDonough, Pete Dunne even.
Wrestling's fake, but I think it's really telling that like a guy with as many accolades as The Miz, and we still can't put him higher than C. You
Mhm.
know? Like,
Yeah, he's at the. Look at it this way: there are people that if we ranked in like 1990, that we would rank differently in 1993. That would be like, oh, that's an A tier person. Oh, now they're a C tier. Some people just don't end up being in that position
yeah, but
forever.
okay, I grant you, but most of those people don't win multiple championships.
Yeah. Like I'm trying to think of like somebody specifically, like a Ted DiBiase. Ted DiBiase, for a good portion of his career, is an A tier, if not an S tier, but most likely an A tier, I would assume, because he didn't actually fully break into that kind of role. But then again, that's Hulk Hogan territory, so of course he didn't. But then if you go Ted DiBiase when he's fighting for the world championship, A plus. If you go Ted DiBiase in the range where he's teaming up with IRS,
It's still an A because he main evented WrestleMania with Hogan. Like these people didn't move as much as the roster and people today move. Once you hit a certain level, it wasn't like you were falling that much further down. I get what you're saying. I'm just saying it's crazy that like a person like The Miz, just even with the machine behind him, it seems, never breaks through anything. You know,
like where would you rank Roddy Piper in 1996?
S, as the same way we ranked The Rock.
Yeah, I don't think I'd go Piper S in 96. I'd
He
go.
wasn't really wrestling in '96, was he?
Right,
had one
he
match
wasn't
with
wrestling, and
Goldust,
then when
right?
he did, he popped up in WCW to headline Starrcade and beat Hogan.
Same way as it's basically
an
the same
S.
way of saying like we're not ranking Nick Aldis in this one, like or Adam Pearce. Like they're authority figures. They're not wrestlers at the moment.
Both C tier. I mean, he had the match with.
In this roster, I'd put Aldis as a B.
Yeah, Aldis is a B, maybe an A, depending on the push they give him.
So, are there any that we want to move around here? I think that it's a little disproportionate, but I don't really know if there's anybody that we can really move around.
Argument and the other.
Because there's like, I would want to potentially move a few people from D into C and maybe some C into B, but I don't know too many people that I would really lean toward. Like, I'd try to make the argument that like Carmelo Hayes could be B. Maybe move him over.
I'd say Andrade at least.
Maybe Andrade and Carmelo in B.
Yeah, maybe.
Put them on par with Trick and LA Knight. And then that bumps up a little bit of room to move some D people into C.
Maybe I'm just seeing if there's anyone else in C that want to move to B. The only ones that I'd probably consider would be Woods and maybe Pete Dunne.
I'd move Pete Dunne to B.
And that's about it, really.
He did just beat Sheamus.
I mean, Waller in theory could be in that range for me. Escobar could be in that range. Pete Dunne. Like I'd probably say the people that I'm putting in bold could be in the B tier range, and maybe
I'd almost put Jimmy because he's gonna main event everything once he's back, and he's with the Bloodline.
I know I probably would lose the argument, but I would put like Miz would be a potential to put in there.
You definitely lose the argument, yeah. I'd say R-Truth has more chance of going into the B tier than Miz does.
Oh, we're getting very close to one day R-Truth just being the joke of an S tier.
Just S tier, yeah. I mean,
yeah,
like without moving C into B, is there any D to C?
No.
Well, there'll be some people from D to move into C. I'd say Charlie Dempsey as like the leader of that group.
I could see Dempsey going into there and then keeping Tabian in D.
Yeah, and a champion, yeah. I'd say maybe Tongaloa. I mean, I know he's shit, but he's a tag team champion, so.
Yeah, because the B tier guy wanted for him and handed it to
It is kind of strange. But I can see the argument to it, but I mean they are kind of just like
honestly no one else stands out to me as like
because if you move Tongaloa, then you move Tamatanga.
Well, yeah. I mean, Tamatonga's like, I'd kind of view that as like C- C+ thing. I don't think it's like a full grade point difference necessarily.
I don't know, man. As far as
don't get me wrong, like if it was going just purely on wrestling ability, then Tongaloa would be in an F right now. But it's not. It's based fully on. It's based on the fact that he's holding one half of the of the WWE Tag Team Championships.
I mean, if we went purely wrestling ability, we'd have Giovanni Vinci higher up. And like, we'd have somebody like a C tier range people going down to E or something like,
Yeah, I'd say put Tongaloa up into C just based on that. And then, yeah, I can't think of anyone else really on the D side of things that I'd move up. So I don't know if necessarily would move too many people up from the C one because. So maybe all the people that we've highlighted, maybe they just stay in C.
Maybe. It's enough of a little bit of a curve. Like we do go down like that and then kind of back up, even though there's a disproportionate between B and D by how many people?
I think that's
by 10.
But I think that's just the way that
sometimes.
It is.
Yeah. Sometimes it just happens.
We cannot deny the fact that the floor in WWE is quite like heavy.
And there are a lot of people in this D and E range that are in NXT. So it's like, a Josh Briggs. If they want to push Josh Briggs and they want to make him seem like a decent deal, he's got potential. But you can't just say, guy is big, guy has potential, let's book him into a feud with a Tavion Heights and have him lose. And then he doesn't win anything else to compensate it. And what has he done the entire year? And then go, well, isn't he a fucking B tier? And it's like, no, he's not. Any different than Austin Theory being a guy that's a former Money in the Bank winner and a former United States champion.
And beat John Cena at WrestleMania.
Beats John Cena. And then you're like, yeah, isn't he a future world champion? And you're like, well, right now, if I just tuned in right now, if I never watched anything before that, yeah, I wouldn't book Austin Theory to be on par with, Seth Rollins or something. Like, no, you just wouldn't. So,
I do want to say here, 4 people off the top of my head have beaten John Cena at WrestleMania in singles matches. two of them are, one of them is an S. Actually, two of them are an S, and the other ones are in C. It's a very weird run for Mr. John Cena. That being Randy and Rock and Theory and Miz.
Well, can't wait to see what happens with John Cena versus Bronco Nima at WrestleMania.
Well, by the way, next year is the last year we get to rank John.
Yeah.
He's not moving from that S tier, but next year's the last year we get to rank him.
If anything, he's probably going to do some stuff this next year that cements even more so that he's like a perennial S tier kind of guy.
Hopefully, though, he's able to bring at least some C's up to A or some B's up to A.
No, based on some of his promos, he's more likely to move some A's down into C's.
It could be. He'll just be like, Gunther, you suck. Here's all the reasons why. Braun Breaker, I don't see what's so fucking great about your spear. I don't know, maybe 2025 is the year of Wolfgang, for all we know. I highly doubt it. But
and then Callum will further cement his joy in not watching WWE.
It's about as good of a curve as we can get. And of course, let us know what you think about our rankings, as well as what you would do for any agreements or disagreements. Where do you think that you would put certain people? If we were like, you guys are crazy, Tony D'Angelo should be in B tier, or like, what are you doing putting CM Punk in A tier? Screw that guy, he's an F. Like, probably, maybe you have some wildly different opinions. Maybe you agree all the way. I don't know, but drop your thoughts in the comments section below. Regardless, if you are listening outside of YouTube, then of course go to any of the other means that you have to be able to leave your opinions. We have that Discord server, we've got the Facebook group stuff, the Facebook page, we've got Twitter, we've got the page on smarkoutmoment.com. Shout it up to the heavens. I don't know, maybe somebody will hear you. Get a microphone. It'll be a little bit easier that way. Make sure that you are checking out all the stuff on smarkoutmoment.com. Make sure that you are checking out Darkcast material. Make sure that you are checking out fanboysanonymous.com as well. Make sure that you're going to all the links on the link tree at amangotree.com or anthonymango.com for those Fanboys Anonymous, Smark Out Moment, and other links. I don't remember the last things that I have added there, but I keep adding some stuff once in a while, so stay tuned to all those things. Like, share, follow, favorite, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Make sure that you're also checking out what Rob and Callum are up to.
Yeah, Dude Felice everywhere, and check out Fightful. All that good stuff is up there. And check out what Callum's got going on.
Find me on Twitter at Wigmeister14. Check out the Power Rankings every Saturday on smarkoutmoment.com, where I rank the WWE superstars based on their previous week's performances. And while you're there, head on over to the Fantasy League, also at www.fantasyleague.com, to see how our rosters are doing, who's picking up points as we head towards Bad Blood, and then onward towards WrestleMania.
Okay, everybody, that is the tier list, the final part of the tier list for this year. If you want us to do more tier lists, you have the option of the Pick Your Poison tier. You could always actually, request even specific things where it's like, I want you to do a tier list of tag teams, or I want you to do a tier list of managers, or you can give us a random assortment of people for all we care. It's up to you. But if you want other types of content beyond tier list things, those are always options as well. We've got Wrestling with the Past materials, like the Smark type stuff. We've got the fan ounce table. There are always options. We got superstar scores, one more match, just going over topics where we just generally speak about whatever it is, all sorts of different things. And I'm always open up to other ideas too. Maybe somebody has something in mind that I've never even thought of, and I'm totally down for experimenting and stuff. That sounds wrong. But the game plan for what we've got coming up for the next few weeks or so is kind of a little bit up in the air in one way or another. I mean, we are going to be recording a few things in advance, so I'm going to try to knock out a little bit of that ahead of time. I don't know exactly when I'm going to record and publish certain things, but again, if you are on the ad block forgiveness tier, then you'll probably get access to that a little bit in advance. Probably going to be doing the October Darkcast of the tier list of the pay-per-view names, which is now extended actually. Instead of making it just old pay-per-view names that are retired, I ended up writing a list of every single pay-per-view name, and then I also wrote a list of every single TV show name for WWE, WCW, and ECW. So now that list has grown significantly, and that in and of itself is basically doubling, if not tripling, the recording time. So that's why one of the reasons why I'm like, oh, I don't know when I'm going to do that yet. But I figured, you know what, if I'm going to rank the things like Clash of Champions and Fully Loaded and whatever, I might as well just set a precedent by ranking things like Royal Rumble, which, spoiler alert, S tier, and to take some other things along those ways. So that's probably going to be recorded sometime at the end of this month and published around October 1st for the Darkcast. I am struggling, oddly enough, to do this fantasy booking of Halloween Havoc, the ultimate Halloween Havoc.
Fantasy spooking.
Fantasy spooking is what I'm calling it. I thought this was going to be a very quick and easy, like, oh, I clearly would have, Undertaker and Mankind and Kane and all these names. And the more that I look at this list, and the more that I even try to expand the list, the more that I'm like, oh crap, I don't have any baby faces here. Or like, oh man, everybody that's worth a damn has already feuded with each other. Like, what do you do with Sting when Sting's already had matches with basically everybody, and you kind of can't put him up against somebody like Undertaker without sacrificing the other main babyface that you can have. So I don't know how that's going to work out. I've worked on it way longer than any other fantasy booking thing except for the Marvel versus DC thing, probably at this point, and I'm still not at a level that I like it. So we'll see how that goes, but that's probably going to be recorded in advance and uploaded on the 16th of October. We're close around that point. Again, Darkcast here or any of those kind of things, you'll get access in advance whenever I do post that. We also have a fan announce table of In Your House Bad Blood that we are most likely going to be recording next week. So stay tuned for that. And anything else that happens, like the hot tags and maybe spontaneous episodes or something, of course, you will find that on smarkandmoment.com. You'll find it on the YouTube channel. You'll find it on our Spotify feed, Amazon Music, whatever it is you're listening to us. So thank you for listening to this. Thank you for your comments. Thank you in advance for checking out the stuff in the future. Now you have to, because I'm thanking you, and that would be rude if you didn't. And we will see you next time, everybody. This is doing us in for this episode, though. So adios for now. This has been another Smark Out moment, and we are being counted out.